2, 1. Yeah, we are here, ready to record. What you saying?
Let's see if this new setup does something. I'm gonna need y'all to pay close attention to the next couple of episodes. See if, because we've invested kinda in a new setup, so we need y'all to let us know.
All right. Do I look pretty? I didn't get it.
It's a little blurry on my end, but hopefully this platform says that everything is going to be great and lovely and wonderful.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think we need to start it off. Let's start it off with. You know what? Let me hit him with this, Dan. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to the new Will Smith, but it's been ringing off over here. You know.
So it's okay to stand a movie star.
Oh, also, there's actually a Zim hip hop cat I came across recently.
Journey, I'm taking my chances, searching and questioning, looking for answers, hoping this medicine heal all the damage. My inner child keep throwing a tantrum. Why does my ego keep holding me ransom? Why does my fear control me at random? Life can get ugly, but fuck it, I'm handsome. I'm about to face all the shit I've been running from. You might relate to the places I'm coming from. I've been through trauma I thought I'd recover from. I got regrets, you heard about some of them. This is gonna make my heart bang like a rubber drum. I will not sugarcoat and stuff with bubble gum. Going through troubles, I hate what the trouble done. I hate to be the thing that people suffer from. You cannot replicate me, I'm a one-on-one. You are not one of them. Damn, if I died and there won't be another one.
What was that?
Yeah, cool, you know. I suppose it's fine. You know.
Why are you so negative? Why are you such a negative Nancy?
I mean, you know, cool, I guess. Cool stuff, you know? Very nice. Very nice. Top stuff.
Yeah.
How's your week been, Phil?
It's been hectic, man. Just busy. Also, just really tired. But I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing okay. How you been?
Yeah, good. Look, things be busy. Listen, I got exclusive news. If you're a listener to this podcast, you get this exclusive news. The company that I work for, AB Communications, of which CFM Stereo is a part, officially has a new top dog. We got a new managing director. Came in this week.
Who that is?
His name's Jeremiah Munembe. It hasn't officially been announced to the public yet, so there's an exclusive. And I, to be honest, I only feel comfortable telling y'all because I'm pretty sure the announcement will be done in the next day or 2 or 3. If not, then whoops.
I missed.
Sorry, boss.
Did you say the name? Your internet blocked out. Who you say that was?
Sorry, boss. It doesn't matter. I'm just making an announcement. The point of me saying this is that obviously,
I missed the name.
News.
Your internet cut out. I missed the thing. I missed the announcement.
His name's Jeremiah Munembe.
Okay. Import or locally based?
No, import. He's a former telecoms executive.
No, I mean, was he based in Zim or he was out of the county?
That is a good. He's mostly been based in Zim, but I don't know if recently he's been out of the country. To be honest, I don't know. We've only just done first meetings and debriefs and. So it's been a busy week at work. Yeah, it's been a busy week. It's been a busy week. So we're actually recording on a different day again. So it's good for us. It's good that we have this flexibility, Phil.
Yoga. Hello.
So look, let's get into it. Let's make sure we got the right energy going, and to do that,
the song I was looking for is not on streaming. Guys, come on, man! I'm trying to support ZimActs, but they're not doing what they need to do. Anyway, here it is. Let me play this for you, Dan. I want to hear what you think about this. I like the vibe of this. I actually like the way he's running his promo. It's quite smart. Let me see if you feel this.
Very good. Very good. SoundCloud.
Alright, go ahead and motion on this one.
Yes.
uzithola sikhala sibize thandi imali kakhulu sithengisa amazwe asikucala ukungena ethango but ufuna unemali yanilo bathi phapha ngathi ushela abantu I'm like it's a hammer left it easy thina sihamba labahamba senza noma yini for imali kuvele kuhlangana when ubaba ubona amathuke waqedisala I'm like it's a hammer left it easy thina sihamba labahamba senza noma yini for imali kuvele kuhlangana when ubaba ubona amathuke waqedisala singabaphanda Lord is my witness Lord imali isikhwama siqumbe ngathi umkhaba ka witness lana kusezesa ngoba mphethe ugets emusithi khanzili idolobho nephepha senza amagills yes of course atina mari but
What you thinking?
Yeah, it's kind of vibey. I like that. You know, it sounds gritty. It sounds hard. Okay.
That's Breeza Clive Beats with the song called Mzimba Zagazi right here on 2BT FM. Let us know if you like it. Don't forget to call in 498-254 and 4982 4986.
We have to be a little bit conscious of which music we play on the podcast from now on.
Nah, F that, bruh. Anything flies. All I'll say is, if you guys want to consume our podcast, and you know what, this might work against me sometimes, but Spotify is not a great platform for podcasts. So I know it's very convenient to have all your music and podcasts in one place, but for podcast creators, it's a terrible platform. I don't understand how Spotify has become worse than YouTube.
So, listeners, at this point, you've probably heard some muffled garbling that you didn't. It was probably just like, I don't know what happened there. I guess something was trying to protect a future bag or something. I don't really know what could potentially have caused that problem. But anyway, let's actually get the podcast started the way that we do by burning down some trees.
everybody gather round two broke twimbos in the town listen close to the sound I need that guy and feel charged baby bringing the fun with the podcast vibes we not stop till the morning sun every episode got me laughing can't control my smile talking about the latest news with the unique style spreading good vibes keeping it real and entertaining they on the rise two broke twimbos bring the heat to the floor everybody get guy and feel charged in control we gonna keep moving to the podcast floor oh yeah we gonna keep moving to the podcast floor oh yeah
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Two Broke Twimbos. We're very excited to be here. It's a different day. Different opportunity to link up. New
Different
platforms.
opportunity to make money to hustle. You know what I mean? We got to get that money up. We got to get that grind on. You know what I mean?
Life is a game. The money's how you keep score.
Technically, we got to ask ourselves, do we need $150 to record an episode? Like, I think, do we have the appropriate licensing for playing music on this podcast?
Good question. Good question. Also, I don't think anyone can answer that at the moment, Philip. I don't think anyone can answer that at the moment. But before we get into it, Phil, are you... Oops. Are you...
Good to go.
Eh? Are you...
Good to go.
sound of it thing them
Get mad now. Good to go. Good to go. Good to go. Good to go. Good to go.
Very nice. Right. Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast. This is Two Broke Twimbos. My name is Danny, that guy, aka Denias, aka Denford Wegumaraini, aka Denimbi, my life, your entertainment, aka I'm done with these streets. Bring us more tariffs. Bring the tariffs. See if we can. Yeah, done moving.
That's right. Each year, on only the unmistakable, the irrefutable, the unquestionable, the undeniable, the untariffable, the untaxable, the covered chargeable. Phil Chowder gave his boss big balls, baby. They gave him that people. A.K. Filthy Phil. A.K. DJ Mkarad. A.K.A. formerly known as that other guy with the mask. Sexington Glovo. And of course, a shit I'm wearing. You take it over drinking.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Two Broke Twimbos. This is going to be a short one. By necessity. But let's get into it. Let's start. I'm going to cut this music because our platform seems to be struggling to balance multiple sound sources. However, let me get right into it and tell you about some Africans doing big things around the world. Now, Phil, this week Zimbabwe was twirling around in a shower that seemed, bright and golden because we were celebrating.
Wait, Zimbabwe was twirling in a golden shower.
We were celebrating a young lady.
Golden shower.
A young lady by the name of Linda Muzenda.
Uh-huh.
Let me not get too far into it with talking, Phil. Let's listen to it. This is a live episode of Britain's Got Talent. Last week, so not live, sorry. But it's an excerpt from the live episode. Linda has just walked onto the stage. We take it up from, let me cut the other music. All right. Linda has just walked onto the stage and she is just about to meet the judges. The judges include KSI for some reason, and some important singers whose names I can't remember at the moment. However, it was a big deal.
Did you say KSI?
Yes, indeed.
KSI?
It's a celebration. It's a golden celebration. This is what happened. Check it out. Britain's Got Talent last week. Auditions.
Hello. You look fantastic. What's your name?
My name is Linda.
Linda. Where are you from?
I'm from Zimbabwe, but I've moved to Bedford.
How do you earn a living? Is this what you do for your job or have you got a normal job?
I'm a support worker. I work with children who have learning disabilities.
Brilliant.
At this point, she sheds a tear.
She's so nervous.
Everyone's going, oh.
Take your time. Take a deep breath.
You're not ready for this.
You feel okay? Yeah. Good luck.
We underestimate what a big deal it is.
I keep finding voices in my mind that say,
Let's go, Linda.
Every single lie that tells me I'll never measure up. Oh, you say I am loved.
What?
When I can feel it there.
People are literally gobsmacked.
I am strong.
Yeah, baby.
I am weak.
Even KSI is smacked.
I am held when I am falling short, when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours, and I believe, I believe what you say of me.
I'm just going to fast forward for the sake of Spotify that we love so much.
I believe
A little bit further.
you say I am held
What?
when I am falling short, when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours. I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe.
looked at.
So the applause goes on for a while. I'm just gonna move forward a little bit.
Deliver a song like that.
I just
You'll just mute for a sec.
But it was amazing.
What an incredible instrument you have at your disposal. You got warm, you got power, and you got feelings. It was a fantastic performance. You should be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Linda, I don't normally get like emotional, but like that was so touching, man. Like just seeing how beautifully you sang, and it was like I could feel the nerves as you came to the mic and you just blessed this whole room with your voice, and it was just absolutely incredible.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think it's the first time today that I've sat through an audition and my heart was just like racing out of my chest. And like about 15 minutes ago, KSI said to me, what is it going to take for you to press your golden buzzer?
Okay, she pressed the golden buzzer, didn't she, Danny?
Pressed it. She pressed it.
Oh, what? Too wrong, mate. Are you going to press my golden buzzer, mate?
And the golden shower of confetti all over her there. Beautiful stuff, I tell you.
Well,
Hey,
so many golden showers. What's up with these golden showers there? What's happening?
Why do you keep referring? I'm talking. There's confetti. It's gold. It's showering all over her. Congratulations, Linda. Beautiful stuff.
Drip, drip, drip.
Honestly, that was it. I saw like everyone. I saw people talking about it right on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. I was like, all right, let me check out the performance. I was expecting to hear a good performance, but I was literally like, yo, this is incredible. Shout out to Linda there. So she got the golden buzzer and she's gone straight to the finals. Let's see what happens. Congratulations. Let's keep on celebrating people. Phil, you're the one who watches the National Football League. In sports ball news, the Washington Commanders on Thursday announced the signature of Zimbabwean rugby player TJ Maguranyanga. What? So TJ Maguranyanga is a rugby player who is on the NFL's International Player Pathway Program, 22 years old. He's played in the French Rugby League, and he caught the eye of the Washington Commanders. So, I mean, big news, I guess. Does rugby and NFL just mix?
Well, they have crossover, and there's a lot more money in in American football. Weirdly enough, I had a friend who sent me. There's a lot of discord right now with the RFU. You know, the people feel they're not developing fast enough. They're not changing the rules fast enough. The chairman of the RFU got a massive bonus, which he then came on and defended and said, like, this was tied into our statutes and our regulations pre-COVID, and we operate almost like a corporate body. But they were like, yeah, if you guys are paying yourselves like a corporate entity, you should iterate like a corporate entity. So that's a bit of fun. And poorly described sports news for you. But all that to say, if I was a talented and skilled rugby player, I'd be trying to find ways to play American football. But however, it's very skilled. I mean, American football is very niche in its skill set. So kickers, there is crossover. So if you're a good fly half and you're able to score long penalty 3-pointers, you've got a good future for you in the NFL. If you're prop, tricky. I think maybe a good eighth man, a good lock, maybe a good winger. There's a bit of crossover into the NFL. And it seems here, defensive end with our latest player. A defensive end is the guy that tackles the quarterback.
So the standard stereotypical statement by people from rugby nations is that rugby's for real men. And, NFL, y'all are wearing helmets and padding and hazmat suits. So listen, yeah, y'all can play your little pansy sports. I mean, I wouldn't know. How would you comment on such statements, Phil?
I think people are stupid and they say stupid things.
Has TJ started playing a softer sport? Is he going to go easy on his ACL? Protect his shins?
It's actually worse. I think there's differences in football and rugby, definitely. They're both very brutal. They're both very violent. The set of injuries is slightly different, but it's still, dude, you still have massive men hitting each other at incredible speed. I don't care what type of sport it is. It can even be happening on the street. It's still going to hurt.
All right. So, yeah, those are some Africans we're celebrating, specifically Zimbabwean. So that was pretty cool. Last week, Phil, we updated everyone on what's going on with ZIMURA and the National Arts Council.
Is that where you go first?
I mean, we're just following up on previous discussions, and it's just an opportunity.
It's been a roller coaster. I've got the timeline here, Dan. I caught whiplash trying to keep up with all these updates. So, after we grilled Henry and had him in the ringer, you know what I mean? ZIMURA on the back foot, if you recall. And then the National Arts Council last week came out and said, we've spoken to these guys. We're looking forward to having more consultative meetings and finding an amicable solution, working together. Kubatana, a music industry and a government body working together for the benefit of who, Dan? The artists and ultimately the people of Zimbabwe. ZIMURA read that statement and were like, F your diplomacy. We're coming out swinging. And they dropped a public notice on their social media platforms. Like public notice to cover bands and event organizers. And they're serious because they use B-Bus bold at like 48 size font. That means they're real. That means they're not playing games yet. Man. They didn't go to Arial. You know what I mean? They didn't go to Comic Sans like some government bodies. They were like, no, we're going with B-Bus.
My problem is that you know more fonts than Times New Roman and Arial. That's a problem. That you need to step outside and touch grass, Phil.
Oh no! Someone who runs an advertising agency knows fonts. Oh. Anyway, let me get into the difference between sans serif. Do you know what kerning means, Dan? You want to get into some kerning? Kerning is one of my favorite topics. Anyway, back to this. The Zimbabwe Music Rights Association reminds all cover bands and event organizers that performing copyrighted music without valid license is a violation of the Copyright and Neighboring Acts, Chapter 2605. Effective immediately, all performers, organizers must obtain the necessary licenses before staging any events featuring protected musical works. To ensure compliance, ZIMURA, in collaboration with the law enforcement agencies, will be conducting nationwide monitoring. Legal action will be taken against any individuals or entities found in violation of copyright regulators. We urge all stakeholders to fulfill the typo and fulfill there, guys. Just letting you know, their licensing obligations to support the rights of music creators and maintain legal compliance. For licensing inquiries and national procedure, please contact ZIMURA. Not to be outdone, 31st of March, day later, National Arts Council came out with a kind of The National Arts Council of Zimbabwe takes note of communications published by ZIMURA on their Facebook platform on Friday, 28 March. This seems to have been a follow-up to a letter that circulated on social media in early March, dated 25 February, that addressed an alleged restaurant, directing the restaurant to ensure that every band that plays in the establishment should have a valid ZIMURA license that costs $150 per event. The drastic increase in tariff from $50 per year to $150 per event caused widespread panic among venue owners, and many bands lost their bookings as venues sought to comply immediately. After receiving letters of complaint from our members, the National Arts Council convened a stakeholder meeting on 21 March, attended by ZIMURA, various owners of copyrights, and several users of copyrights. There was contention over the method of tariff development, the license period change from annual to per event, the departure from international best practices of charging venues, not bands, and the tariff amount which was considered punitive. Concerns were also raised on the plight of rights holders, many of whom are widows and orphaned children of musical legends. Interesting sentence. Who expressed that cover bands are taking the cream of the earnings from the intellectual property of those rights holders. No regard had been given to their rights or plight, but wanton use of their property was enriching non-compliant bands while profiting without remitting due to the rights holders. The meeting concluded that indeed copyright holders deserve compensation for the exploitation of their property, and cover bands had to honor the rights of the rights holders. A wider consultative meeting was planned for a future date to have further dialogue. On Thursday, March met with the representative holders, strongly expressed their views, blah, 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 blah. They took offense. They were like, you guys are talking nonsense. The conclusion that the wider consultation, users of copyrights would be adequately educated on the sanctity of copyrights and their views would be respected, and that they believe the $150 tariff should be entry level and ZIMURA should charge more for bigger concerts. All these views were taken into consideration. The National Arts Council is embarking on a mission to resolve the impasse, promote, respect copyrights while ensuring robust grassroots development of the arts. Plans have been shared with ZIMURA that the National Council intends to invite rights users for an engagement before the bigger dialogue and forums convene. This is where they put their foot down, Dan. This is where we get to. The National Arts Council therefore directs that put their foot down. The Zimbabwean Music Rights Association regularizes its registration with the National Arts Council as an arts association in line with the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe, Act Chapter 27. Point 7, read in conjunction with Section 4 of Statutory Instrument 87 of 2006. All directors for payment of the 150 tariff are suspended immediately, pending the conclusion of the registration dialogue. The National Arts Council of Zimbabwe takes seriously its mandate to foster, develop, and improve the knowledgeable understanding and practice of the arts in Zimbabwe by encouraging the teaching and practice of the arts and their presentations, performance, execution, exhibition to the public. We appeal for restraint, civility, and patience on social media and in all spaces of engagement while we strive to ensure the legacy and the intellectual property of our musicians are protected, used fairly, and commensurate compensation is paid by users. In service of the arts, Napoleon Nyani, the director. So at this point, Dan, was clear. You know what? ZIMURA might have overstepped their bounds, but the National Arts Council got them in check. We could all breathe a sigh of relief. You know what?
We used to be a part. We used to be able to summarize rather than just read the whole statement.
No, I needed to read the whole statement because there's very key points that I have to come back to later. So at this point, we were like, yo, we can breathe, yo. They were wilding with the $150, but thank gosh, common sense has prevailed. Cooler heads have prevailed. Things are good. Same day, bruh. Same day. ZIMURA were like, essentially, there's your mama. ZIMURA was clarification on ZIMURA's legal and regulatory status. In response to the assertion that ZIMURA must register with the National Arts Council, we would like to provide clarity on our legal standing and regulatory framework. Essentially, ZIMURA were like, you guys are the National Arts Council. We are on board. We do what we want.
For those of you who want a somewhat summarized account of what's going on, we've been talking about this for a while. ZIMURA said we want $150 licenses for every time an artist performs a cover song. National Arts Council came in and said, listen, we've been meeting with ZIMURA. Hold on, don't worry. We're sorting this out. Then ZIMURA came out and said, meeting, schmeeting. We want our $150. The National Arts Council came out and said, yo, I thought we agreed that we are still discussing. Since you want to be like this, everyone, don't worry, you don't have to pay that $150. ZIMURA, on top of that, you're not registered with us. So make sure you go and get registered. Then ZIMURA came out and said, actually, we don't need to be registered with you because association that exists in ZIMURA is not really an association under the National Arts Council. Rather, we are our own individual, I think they called it a legal entity or a company, something like that. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. I just received an email that says YouTube premium price update. Anyway, so there's been this back and forth, and honestly, it's funny to watch. But if you are in arts or music, it is so disheartening that the National Arts Council and the Zimbabwe Music Rights Association are fighting as to who reports to who and who, because ZIMURA are saying, listen, we are going to use the police to collect our $150. The National Arts Council are saying, yo, you don't have the power, relax. And they're like, actually, we do have the power. I think a valid follow-up question was asked. And again, I don't have an intimate understanding of Zimbabwe's arts laws, but if they're a private company, as they claim, how can they then use the police to enforce a collection of licenses?
They can, but they'll have to go to court. So they do have a legal mandate and a government mandate to protect the rights and collect against the intellectual property rights of artists. The issue
Correct, but
here,
do they unilaterally then announce license fees or fees?
They unilaterally is not the way. They can do so with the agreement of their board members. So, but they're supposed to bring in all stakeholders, and in this instance, all stakeholders would be all members of ZIMURA, at the very least, all members of ZIMURA. Sometimes what would happen is, as a shortcut, and I think this is where also National Arts Council thought they might have had a mandate over ZIMURA, is when you're now bringing in stakeholders, you approach associations that already have a database of interested parties. One of those main interested parties would be the National Arts Council. So you'd go to them and say, hey guys, who are your registered event promoters, for example? And then those guys would then help form the research group for you guys to better understand what are the needs for promoters in the country, what are the needs for artists in the country, etc., etc. The same thing with radio. I'm assuming, and I would hope, whenever they're discussing licensing fees, you are called in, or ZIMURA contacts you and says, hey guys, this year we're trying to increase revenue for royalties. Last year we collected X amount. This year we need X amount. You guys have this much market share. So we're trying to say that maybe this figure is compensate to that, and then there's a discussion around it. As opposed to them just coming to you and saying, you know what, ZFM, you guys are the biggest station in the country, to pay 2 million. Ayo, to that 2 million yedu.
I can provide a little bit of clarity on those negotiations. I just have never been part of them. But from what I've been told, the negotiations that happened between ZIMURA and not just our station, but other radio stations in the country, was basically, there was a sit down, there was a discussion about revenue and average revenue per month, average revenue per year, and there was an agreement on what is a fair percentage of revenue on specific things. So, for example, revenue that's outside radio play, but maybe the radio station does events or whatever would be excluded out of this. Mm-hmm. So that's one model. Another model was per play. So some radio stations in the country have a per play model. Other radio stations have a revenue, or rather percentage of revenue. And I think those are the two main sort of models that are used to calculate revenue. So that's done it's not done in a public forum or with a group. It's an individual negotiation that happens between ZIMURA, who are negotiating on behalf of artists. And then they sit with the radio station. They say, okay, so, show us your revenues. This is what we're proposing. Then the radio station says, it's too much or it's too little. We should actually be paying our artists more because we love them so much. Then ZIMURA says, no, don't give us so much money because then we don't know what to do with it. And then and then eventually they come to a conclusion and an agreement, and then a contract is signed.
ZIMURA says, don't give us so much money.
I'm just hypothetically, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I wasn't in the room, but hypothetically, whichever way the negotiation goes.
That's an interesting hypothetical, but okay.
Anyway, so here's an interesting. I'm not going to mention any names, but Phil, you will know based on who we were hanging out with recently. But there was an artist, an A-list artist, who has had #1 hits on radio. This artist says, I've never collected from ZIMURA. Never collected. However, I've been registered for 10 years. Anyway, I finally got an email that told me, come and collect because we have your money ready. And I went to go collect, and it was $200. And I was like, wait, you tell me over the last 10 years, all my radio plays, multiple, big hits, and this is my amount. And then I was like, listen, you need a bit more information. Like, ask them for a statement or an audit or something that will let you know, like, is this for a particular period? How much are they calculating to pay? Like, go and ask for a statement. I think you're in your rights to ask for that. And this person was like, well, to be honest, I was just annoyed. So I just said, never mind. But maybe that's what I need to do. So,
but there's also a bit of a caveat, which I didn't want to get into at the time is, if you have been making music, and this is for all artists, if you're an artist, if you have been making music and releasing music commercially for 10 years, and you have been distributing that money for 10 years, and you don't have a publisher, and you're not a member of a CMO, which is a collective management organization, or a PRO, performance rights organization, and you have not collected any revenue or you have not registered with them, every 3 years you lose your money. Every 3 years, they have what they call black box or pipeline, uncollected pipeline royalties, which just sit in escrow for 3 to 4 years. And because they're collection organizations, they're not supposed to be for-profit entities. They have to disperse these funds. So if you don't collect those funds, they'll then disperse them to existing members on a pro rata basis. And if you guys follow the music industry, for the most part, the biggest artists outside of local acts are sometimes international acts. So if you have not collected your royalties from any CMO, PRO for a 3 to 4 year window, you have paid to help Drake sue Universal Music. You have helped pay for Justin Bieber to buy his wife a brand new car. You have helped pay for Maporisa to get some new clothes. All the big artists who are members of the CMOs globally get pro rata payouts regionally, locally, and internationally. So, sadly, because she has not collected for 10 years, she's only collecting for the last 3 years. The first 7 years already.
It could be
Sorry, I shouldn't have gendered them.
Yeah. Is ZIMURA is a CMO. So I don't think if you are a member of a CMO, it's not like you go every few months and say, hey, just checking if you have my money. Normally what you would expect to happen is the CMO to reach out to you and let you know that your money is ready.
Well, even that is not how it's supposed to work. You should become a member. They will then let you know these are our payment windows. So we pay out every June. And if you're lucky enough where they'll have a live dashboard, you can literally log in and see these are how my songs are doing, or at the very least, these are the works registered that they're collecting against. And then you should also be building your database. So you should be able to submit to them and say, hey guys, my song was played on BBC Radio. Are you guys tracking for that? Here's proof that it was paid on BBC Radio, because that's a big payout. Yeah. My song has been getting played here, here, and here. These are the set lists from all the performances I've done locally and internationally. Here's the dates, here's the set lists. Please make sure you go to those other collective management organizations and collect for me, because if you are touring, you will also get double paid. Fun fact, guys. You'll get paid by the promoter, but you'll also get paid because your songs are being performed publicly in other regions.
Yeah. So look, ultimately, right now, this fight that's going on between ZIMURA and National Arts Council is insane. I also am aware that there's people in government offices, and I don't know directly which ministry oversees this. I would assume it's the Ministry of Arts, Sports and Culture, but from what I was hearing, there's other ministries as well that also have a hand in this, that felt that you are failing to understand ZIMURA. And I was like, There's a lot going on here. So we will be keeping a close eye.
Clarify the statement. When you say people in government are saying if anyone understands, what do you mean? Please clarify.
So I don't want to clarify too much because number one, it's unverified. It's someone who was telling me, and number two, I don't want to mention names because it's people that I have to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But they are, from what was being discussed within government institutions outside of the National Arts Council, there's a feeling that no, these guys are doing the right thing. They're charging licenses so that they can pay artists. Stop trying to block them. So, yeah. So, I mean, when I hear more information and I can verify it and I can actually identify exactly what is being said, I can provide more. But for now, I was just hearing that it was feeling a little disheartening because I was like, wait, but do the people actually understand the dynamics and the nuances?
The people being which people? The public or the people in
policymakers? Because you see, we can talk about how it's supposed to happen, but if, let's, for example, say ZIMURA put their foot down and say, we don't care what you say, National Arts Council, we are 100% going ahead with this. ZIMURA has board members. Some of those board members are in powerful places. Some of them are well-loved publicly. Some of them have influence. If ZIMURA puts their foot down and says, we don't care what you say, National Arts Council, if you don't pay this $150 license fee, you're going to jail. And they have enough influence within government offices, that's what's going to happen. Regardless of whether you say, no, but National Arts Council is right or not, or vice versa. If National Arts Council has certain influential places where they are, and they say, no, this is nonsense, then ZIMURA won't be able to go ahead. So I don't think much will be placed on the merits of each side's argument. It's going to be based on who's got the influence.
It will to a certain degree, and then it's gonna how do I put it? So ZIMURA does not operate in Ireland. ZIMURA also operates as part of members of the CSAC, and to a certain degree IFPI, because they're a composite CMO. So eventually they're going to have to report to these bodies, and this is going to be a tough thing to justify. It's also not enforceable. It's also nonsensical. The damage this is going to cause to the live industry is going to be felt by the very artists these people claim to be protecting. And when those artists now realize, wait a minute, I'm not getting booked no more. Or here's a perfect example. And this is part of the discussion that came up yesterday. So we went out to a jazz, to Mara, supporting Gemma. Shout out to her and Connor. And people, I took some people there and we're explaining just the dynamics of music. And one of the things I wanted to get into that I didn't really, it was the more expensive it becomes to entertain people, the lower the quality of the entertainment becomes. So ideally, if I'm doing a jazz night, for example, I'm going to go all out, Roaring 20s, Great Gatsby, full band, Like if money wasn't an object, I would do something like that. But because of prohibitive costing, you reduce it. So maybe you go down to a 6-piece band, maybe a 4-piece band. Eventually, you'll go down to a 1-piece band because you're like, I can't afford this. Now, that's just because of revenue coming in as a restaurant owner. Those are the economy. Now, it's also because of how much I have to pay this band to make sure they deliver quality work. Because paying a band doesn't just guarantee them pitching up. A band has to rehearse, they have to find outfits, they have to buy instruments, they have to keep them clean, blah, 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 blah. Right? So a 6-piece band might cost you $3,000. A 1-person band, maybe if they're really talented, they'll be like, you know what, it's cool, give me $800. But slowly but surely, that price gets lower and lower and lower and lower because of competition, because of market conditions, etc., etc. Now, I am an original composer. I'm trying to create a vibe. If I'm doing a jazz night at a restaurant, the best thing, and you saw it happen last night, in fact, let me not snitch, because now this is snitching, this might be evidence. What theoretically may happen is a band will take original compositions and maybe mix them with existing work. So the people are like, oh, snap, I know this. Oh, that's a nice remake. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like this. And that gets the energy up, it gets the vibe going, right? But now, if I'm a restaurant owner and I now have to pay the band, let's say the band are getting $150. So let's say the saxophone player, $150 for the night. And now I still have to pay another $150 for this cover license, whether the jazz player or I am paying it as a restaurant owner. That's $300. I'm going to look at it and I'm like, you know what? Let me just get a DJ. I can get a DJ for $100, $50. You're on mute, Dan. You're on mute.
Let me play a YouTube mix.
Yeah, and then the next level down is, hey, you know what? This DJ is a little expensive. He's coming in with his controller, his setup. You know what? Actually, screw it. YouTube is free. Let's do it. And you know what? I'm not even gonna pay for YouTube Premium anymore. YouTube Premium, let's go with the free YouTube. So after every song, bring pick and pay specials this week. And essentially, that is not a hypothetical. That is what is going to happen. And it's eventually what that's going to do is it's going to affect the quality of the music. Because now, if I'm playing music off YouTube, there's no real money going into the local infrastructure. So there's no local artists being paid directly. Popular music on YouTube may be local, but for the majority, it's going to be international. Especially if it's an algorithmic playlist where YouTube is just playing songs over and over and over again. Eventually, it's going to start switching to international songs, and then it's going to be more Justin Bieber, more Wizkid, more Burna Boy, more whatever than local acts. And then that's going to affect the culture. And that's the thing that people haven't really started thinking about. What does this do to the culture of Zimbabwe? Because nightlife entertainment, excuse me, is how we define a culture in a country. That's what builds. Then you keep muting yourself, and then when you try to talk, you mute it. Just stay off mute.
It's okay. I was just making an interjection that wasn't necessary. Please continue. I was saying one of the ways you define a culture, not the only way. But go ahead.
But it's a key part, because when tourists come to visit, when people want to understand, when we're building a music scene, you build it via live entertainment, live shows, and that's what defines youth culture. It what defines entertainment culture. By doing this, long term, they are eradicating that completely. At a time when we were just starting to rebuild it and rebuilding it against all odds. We've discussed many times on this show how expensive it is to do live events in Zimbabwe, how difficult it is, the hurdles we have to overcome, the situation, like the cost of running a restaurant already. You have expenses that you don't have to consider anywhere else in the world. Well, I guess maybe parts of Africa, but it's things like, I need a generator. That's going to cost me $10K. I need to maintain a generator. I need to get fuel. I need to have maybe another backup power solution. I need to account for water. I need to account for traffic. Weirdly enough, let me not even mention security. Let me just say that. Security. All these other things. And now on top of that, I have to worry about some undercover police officer sitting in at my restaurant and then popping up with the moment they hear a tuku cover and play, aha! You're under arrest. It's ridiculous. Like, this is absolute madness.
Well, we have been touching on this ZIMURA situation for a while. I think we're quite clear about what our opinions are on it, but it's also interesting to see just how it's playing out in the public. We will be paying close attention to this story, and if you are an artist or an artist manager or interested in the movements of the Zimbabwe music scene, make sure you click subscribe. You know what? Even better, become a Patreon member. What will you pay? $150 or just $5 per month? Which one are you paying? It's no brainer. You know what I'm saying?
Quick math.
Actually, when we finish reviewing some of our talking points, I'm going to come back to this issue of live performances, and there's something funny that happened this week that I think we should talk about. But anyway, something else that I want to get back to about that we spoke about last week was, remember we spoke about ChatGPT and the Studio Ghibli trend. I've updated my pronunciation to Ghibli. Quick side note, Phil, I did a little bit of research on how to pronounce this. Allow me to cook a little bit.
It's Ghibli, isn't it?
No. So,
your giblets.
Miyazaki is the founder of this. He was a fan of airplanes. So there was a particular airplane that had an Italian nickname. It was an Italian airplane, and it was named after an Arabic word. I believe it was a Libyan Arabic word, which was Ghibli or Ghibli. You know, with the guttural phlegm, Ghibli. But in Italian, it was then just called Ghibli. So Miyazaki was a fan of planes, and this was one of his favorite planes, and so on. So he decided to name his studio after that. So you would think that the correct pronunciation is Ghibli, because it was named after this plane that's called a Ghibli in Italian, which is based off this Arabic Ghibli. But whenever he speaks about it, he calls it Jibori, because he's Japanese and he speaks about Jibori. And whenever anyone in Japan, whenever they make a reference to it, they always call it Jibiri, Studio Jibiri. Of course, they don't say studio, whatever the Japanese word is for studio. So there's both. The source material is Ghibli. Miyazaki himself says Jibori. So it's up to you, Ghibli. But to me, I think since
is this the whole GIF debate all over again?
I guess it is. Anyway, coming back to the story, we were speaking about ChatGPT and their native image generation that they launched within ChatGPT 4.0, which took the world by storm. And then there was a whole debate about how this will affect IP. And it was a big deal, Phil. Everybody was talking about it, at least in my algorithm. Anyway, so a lot of people...
Very sad, Dan. No one in your algorithm has ever felt the soft embrace of a woman.
It's a very interesting algorithm. Okay, to be fair, 3/4 of it is still Elon's nonsense, but there's some gems in there that come out every now and then.
I'm on Twitter list these days, though. I can't.
Yeah. I was also about to say, if you'll notice, we're talking a lot about last week's stuff. There's a reason for that. But yeah, we're also following up. Some people like that debate. And I wanted to say, I also gave a little bit of thought since we discussed it last week. And I think what we said last week was, look, this is a tool. It is what it is. We have to accept it. However, it's not fair the way the damage that it's doing to creators and to, people's original work and so on. So there must be some kind of compensation. I think that was the general consensus that we came to in the discussion. And I was listening back and I was like, you know what? I think it must be more than just, compensation to the creators of original work. I think there must be a disincentive for companies. I was listening to Twitter, and you know what they were saying? They were saying it's probably very likely that part of their marketing strategy is to do things that are controversial and that will make people upset and that will cause people to discuss, is this allowed and so on, because it makes it blow up. For example, a famous story is when ChatGPT launched Voice, right? They wanted to use Scarlett Johansson's voice. Now, Scarlett was kind of against the whole idea of AI replacing actors and so on, so she refused. So ChatGPT, in fact, Sam Altman tweeted, because Scarlett Johansson was the voice of the AI in the movie Her. So that's why he wanted to use Scarlett Johansson.
They dropped ChatGPT 3, and then they introduced the voice conversation function, and then Sam Altman just said a tweet that said Her, which was...
It was obvious that he was making reference to Scarlett Johansson, the voice of the AI in the movie Her. However, his plans were cast awry, as it were, when Scarlett Johansson refused to be the voice of ChatGPT. So what did Sam Altman do? He decided to hire an actress who sounded exactly like Scarlett Johansson, recorded her, and the voice came out anyway. Now, the problem is, of course, you can kind of say, it's not your voice, but we can all see what you were trying to do. So it became a legal thing. I think, honestly, it's going to be a very difficult thing to pursue because it's so easy to say, what do you mean? No, I wasn't using Scarlett's voice. Oh, she sounds like her?
It's difficult to pursue because you found an actor that naturally sounds like her. So in her other recordings, she sounds exactly like that. So it's like, dude, we just found an actress. I don't understand.
So the controversy around this jumped ChatGPT from 100 million to 400 million users. I don't have the exact figures, but this is the discussion they were having. So this kind of controversy, which makes people upset, is this allowed? Are you stealing people's work? Are you stealing people's IP? It's good for ChatGPT and good for OpenAI. Same thing happened right now with this whole Studio Ghibli. All of this discussion about, is this allowed? This seems so unfair. Now, people who've never even watched Ghibli movies are making, anime art of their pictures. So, when I was looking back, I was like, there should be more than compensation. There should be some kind of disincentive because you could have just used any voice. You didn't have to use a Scarlett Johansson voice. You could have blocked specific IPs as you had been doing. By the way, before this launch, you couldn't say make something in the style of Disney. You couldn't.
Yep, that's what I was getting at last week as well. I was like, And then in retrospect, I realized they probably just turned the feature off. I think they've realized, just turn the feature off. We get more hype.
As in the security feature, right? Turn off the security feature. Yeah. So that's all they did. And they get hype and they get, and then now everyone's complaining. Then they're like, oh, sorry, is it not allowed? Okay, cool, we'll turn it off. Meanwhile, the billions of dollars made. So yeah, anyway, that's just a quick follow-up on what we spoke about last week as well. You want to talk about Kanye West?
Yeah, I wanted to just rub your face in it. I get you at the soft spot for Kanye, and I was like, you see your man's, and then a day later, I don't want to talk too much about it because I feel it's disgusting what he did. For those of you that don't know, Kanye West had an interview with Akadiddy, aka Crapidemics. And in this interview, Kanye West opens the door. So Crapidemics pitches up at a hotel room and Kanye comes to the door. And immediately, it's hard to notice, there's two very stark things that Kanye is wearing in the interview. I don't know if you've seen the video, Dan. So luckily for me, I did not watch the full video. I watched someone else recap the video because there's no way I was giving Crapidemics any of my streams. But also because I happened to be on Twitter, I kept seeing videos of it. So in the opening scene, Crapidemics gets to the hotel room, opens the door. Kanye is wearing a Sean John shirt. For those of you who don't know, Sean John, a popular label started by P. Diddy, something that we wore fondly in our youth. We didn't know, excuse us. And then has a blinged out swastika around his neck. Personally, that was me, and I opened the door, and there was a black man with the swastikas around his neck. I would have been like, yo, you know what? Cool. It's like, it boom that I didn't talk bad because but no, it gets worse. Surprisingly, it gets worse. They settle in, they figure out the framing of the shot, whatever. Kanye says, yo, give me a moment, I shall return shortly. Man goes and does a costume change, comes out in a black KKK outfit. And this is where I knew, like, I've been done with Kanye, but now I'm super done. We are not American. I'm not American. I'm a Zimbabwean. I have never in my life had to deal with a member of the KKK. My understanding of the KKK is theoretical. It's from books I've read, documentaries, movies I've watched. I've never physically had to deal with them. But I had such a visceral reaction. Like, it was like a shot to the heart. Literally, I was just like, oh, you know what I mean? And it wasn't like shock and awe. It was like little pain, like little hurt. Like, I can't believe a black person would do this. And I was like, you know what? F this, I'm done. And this is kind of the point I was trying to make with you last week. And I'm not trying to belabor the point. It's just Kanye continues to do deplorable, horrible, disgusting things. And it's okay for us to say, yo, there was a time this man's music was decent. But also we have to be honest and say that music was also, it was a collaborative. Kanye, I believe, is a great creative director. He's a great orchestrator. He's great at seeing what's happening and getting the right people in the room and giving them a direction to follow. That I'll give him credit for. I will not deny him that. He's brilliant at that. But as a solo artist, as more and more writers that he's worked with have left him, and obviously he's an excellent producer, as more and more writers have left him, the quality of the music has taken a sharp dive. A very, very, very sharp dive. And I think it's disingenuous of us to not acknowledge that, but also we can still enjoy all of the lights or whatever, but it's getting harder and harder to do so because that music was so good. It represented so much, but also that music represented a lot of pro-black messaging, which Kanye is deliberately trying to erode. And that hurts, man. It hurts.
Here's my problem, right? Well, if we're just being facetious and joking and agendas as people do online, all good. My problem is it feels there's a certain level of almost like a desire to conform thinking and fundamental thinking. Let me explain what I mean by that. I can I can listen to All of the Lights. I can listen to College Dropout and all of that and not think of current Kanye. The only thing that's in my head is what I enjoyed back then, the feeling I had back then, and ooh, this is a banger and whatever. I can do that. So I can listen to Kanye West music and not relate to what he does now. Of course, I know there's other people who feel completely differently, that the moment I even hear his name or the moment I hear a beat that sounds like it was made by Kanye, I can't help but feel hurt at what he's done recently and some of the shenanigans that he's done and all of that, right? So that person, in this case you, feels you have the same thinking and feeling that I have. And you must think of what Kanye is doing now when you listen to College Dropout. And I'm telling you, but I don't. When I listen to College Dropout, that's what you do when you imply that, because I'll say something, for me, when I'll say something like, yeah, I'll listen to his music because I want to hear what it sounds like. And then your interpretation of that is somehow supporting him or being a fan of him or whatever. Agenda and jokes, whatever aside.
And
other yourself and other people.
Let me just speak.
Even now, when you're saying like, that's what I was trying to put across to you last week. There's no point where I disagreed that Kanye is completely in the wrong and I hate what he's doing. There's no way where I even implied that I'm trying to support him. The only thing I said, there's two things I said. The one thing that I said is I do want to hear his new music because I want to hear what it sounds like because I know he's good at making music. And somehow that was interpreted as, oh, because he makes good music, then you can excuse what he does. And to me, it's like, that's not at all what I said. I can listen to that music and not think about what he does at all, but other people can't. And I think that's fair. That's fair and fine. And it's okay to say, I refuse to listen to a song by Kanye because of ABC. Whereas to me, Kanye was just an instrument. The music was made. The thing that I might think about is, you know what? I don't want to support him in any way. So even my few cents of streaming, I might decide not to do it that way. I might decide to find a different way of listening to his music. Maybe that's a conversation that we could have, but maybe don't support him. Fair. The other thing that I said was, in my opinion, I think the reason Kanye does some of these things is specifically to evoke a visceral reaction. And it's not because he genuinely in his heart of heart believes that the ideals of the National Socialist Party are the right ones to follow or whatever. And by that, I was not trying to say that he is really a good man deep down. That's not at all what I was saying. I was saying, I think some of the things he's doing aren't because he believes this. It's because he's just trying to be as trash a man as possible. And that, honestly, I don't care if that's true or not. That was just me musing out loud that I don't think I don't think what he says is true. Mm-hmm. But me musing out loud. But ultimately, that doesn't matter because he's a trash person who's done trash things. But, again, I also understand that 99% of this it's just jokes and banter and ha ha ha, lol, lol, lol. But I do genuinely think that some people interpret it a particular way. And I'm trying to say, guys, we don't think the same. Let's not assume that because it means this for me, therefore it must mean that for you. Because it doesn't mean that to me.
Yeah. So to respond to what you're saying, I wasn't trying to imply that you were excusing. I was merely trying to say is I take umbrage with the fact that people continually hold Kanye's past successes as an excuse for his current shenanigans. And I'm just like, no matter how good you may have been, I don't like, fool me once. Like, I don't need to continually come to the house to get bitten by the dog. No matter how many times I've played with Fluffy and I've had good memories with Fluffy, it only takes Fluffy one time to maul my leg for me to be like, I'm not playing with you no more. And that's the thing.
Small rabies, Phil. He's good now.
And that's my issue. That's my issue with Kanye is, and partly it's also, I think we're part of the problem. I think even now talking about it is going to drive interest. Granted, we're a small podcast, whatever, but we've got listeners, and some listeners might not understand what we're talking about, and one listener might be like, "Yeah, let me go find out what he's saying. Let me go investigate," and that's going to amplify his message to some. And the thing with Kanye, and I've seen a lot with, especially like with the right wing individuals, Kanye in particular, is Kanye will take a seed of a topic that resonates with particularly black males. So like black fatherhood or not being able to see your child. and he'll twist the narrative and he'll be like, yo, I can't see my child. Kim is taking my child, or Kim is taking the intellectual property of my kids. I'm not making money. I can't make money off my kids. I had to get Kim's permission to get my child on a project. Keeping in mind, he was trying to get his child on a song with P. Diddy. It's a story for another day. And now black men are like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, as black fathers, we need to see our children. This is not right. Completely ignoring all the other, like, his manic episodes. Granted, we don't see what happens behind closed doors, but Kim has spoken on it. We don't see his manic episodes. We don't see what type of father he's behind closed doors, but we do see how he's acting. And part of me really hurts for those children. I can't imagine what it's going to be like, Dan. Your father's a super famous artist, super famous. A black man. Because of the one drop rule in America, you are now a black child. You're a black woman or a black male. And you see your father wearing a swastika and a KKK uniform. Like, how do you reconcile that as a child, yo? How painful is that? And the other thing Kanye is doing that I really, really, really hate, he's desensitizing the masses to seeing swastikas in KKK uniforms. Not just him, but he's part of the movement. And that is incredibly damaging. The response to swastikas and KKK hoods, I would hope I would want, is the response I was like, ugh, no, pain. God damn it, I'm so upset and angry. But if we keep seeing them, we're going to get desensitized to that. And then all the people that like only brought out their hoods on the weekend and hid their faces are going to be more and more bold to be like, you know, I guess we can be more outspoken about it because we got one of the good boys with us, man. Kanye said it's good, man. And it's also a wild 360 that Kanye has slowly, literally become Clayton Bigsby. Literally.
Uncle Rucker said. Anyway, I don't disagree with that. And honestly, I think past air quotes brilliance or genius, and I will push back. Phil, that 3-album run was amazing. Whether it was that he got the writers in the room or whether he did whatever.
But I'm not discrediting. I'm saying that's an amazing album run. No question, no denying. From college dropout, graduation, late registration, not even that 3, I'll give it 5. Even my Dark Twisted Fantasy, 808 and Heartbreak, that run was probably one of the best runs we've seen in hip hop, period. Without a shadow of doubt. And keeping in mind, giving everyone hits upon hits upon hits as a producer. Incredible stuff. But that still doesn't negate
that excuse.
Kanye.
Hey, Philip, obviously this is going to be edited late and it's going to have to be. Now I can't just package it. I have to go to all the individual places where you feel the need.
Okay, there we go. 1 hour, 7 minutes. I'm writing it down for you so I can edit it. 1 hour. We'll leave an.
Anyway.
1 hour, 7:25. I'll do the video, you do the audio. It's fine.
It's, well, with this platform, Phil, it's the same.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Like, that's why we're using this platform. You see. Anyway. Just moving on, there's something I wanted to talk about, Phil. You wanted to shout out to these poor guys whose Spotify has been taken down.
Yeah, you know.
Sorry, if you missed the other podcast, that 6 Foot Weights podcast, they're currently going through it. Eh?
Should we call them and get them?
Give them a taste. Give them a taste.
What it's like that? No, shame. So one of the reasons.
Okay, wait. We will allow them to express the reason why they're. But we don't have to do that for them, Philip. What if they want to lie? Have you thought about that?
That is true. Anyway, they're experiencing difficulties. So what we need to do is we need to make a wait. Hold on, that like this needs to be one of the social media clips. Hold on. Let's do this right. Hold on. Let me even do the chest spin. I'm doing the chest spin, Dan. Hey there. Are you a listener of 6 Foot Weights? Have you found yourself missing the podcast this past few weeks? Well, we here at 2 Broke Twimbos are here to help. Come to us. We're funnier, we're better looking, and we're more informed. So, forget 6 Foot Weights. Join the 2 Broke Twimbos train. Join now for free $99. And then we'll get like Tabo and Senna to give like an endorsement message in the corner here.
Even more important, than being funnier, smarter, more informed, we are available. You can actually listen to new episodes of this podcast. And I think that trumps any other availability. So welcome, listener. Allow us to fill that podcast-shaped void that you are currently feeling in your heart. And there's no need to look back. You're welcome.
Yes. Thank you. And for the small price of $10 a month, we will be translating our episodes into Ndebele for your pleasure.
It shall be a ChatGPT translation in Scarlett Johansson's voice. But okay, so and now that we've moved to Bulawayo, I want to tell you a really funny story that happened this week. So
tell us what happened, buddies. What happened in Bulawayo?
There's been a lot of hype about the upcoming Bulawayo shutdown show. This was supposed to be happening on I believe it's on the Saturday of ZITF.
Is this the cigarette show?
I don't know about that, but headlining this show include artists like Winky D, Uncle Waffles, ZIMURA.
That's the cigarette show.
DJ
That's the
Peter, Nasty C, MT, Enzo, Aishal, Oriano, Bazooka, Killer Team, Zo7, all slated to perform at this huge show. And as you can imagine, much of the country would be in Bulawayo for ZITF. Are we going to ZITF, Phil?
Right now, I have no contractual obligations. If you want to sponsor me, because I've tried to go to Bulawayo during ZITF. If you don't book your hotel a year, it's late. It's late.
Even if you do, apparently what's been happening is they cancel bookings because they know that you can make so much more money. Anyway, long story short, this huge Bulawayo shutdown show was being advertised to be hosted at Queen's Sports Club. Some people complained. And they were like, wait, but Queen's Sports Club is like the only international standard cricket club in Bulawayo. Why would you have a concert there and potentially damage the... I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I saw people complaining about. Well, Zimbabwe Cricket stepped forward and they put out a statement. Zimbabwe Cricket has noted with concern the circulation of advertising material falsely claiming that a musical show is scheduled to take place at Queen's Sports Club in Bulawayo on 26 April 2025. As you can imagine, this is
what a
couple of weeks before this huge show featuring international acts. Zimbabwe Cricket wishes to categorically state that it has not granted the organizers of the said event any consent to hold a concert at Queen's Sports Club, venue of our upcoming test series. Any claims suggesting otherwise are misleading and should be disregarded. As the custodians of the venue, Zimbabwe Cricket's priority remains the game of cricket, and we will not permit the concert or any other non-cricketing events to take place at Queen's Sports Club. Zimbabwe Cricket therefore strongly warns the show organizers to desist from misleading the public with false advertisements. And then it goes on to mention that there's a test series planned against South Africa and New Zealand in June and August at Queen's Sports Club. So, as you can imagine, Phil, this must be very interesting. I haven't seen a follow-up statement from the organizers of the Bulawayo shutdown event.
I have an inkling. I know who one of the organizers may be. Do you know who the organizers are? I think I know who one of them is.
I have a suspicion, but I don't know for sure. Why? Did you unphone someone?
No. But they won't speak on this. It's under contract, but I think I know it is. Because as you know, some of these events, especially these branded events, they'll get an existing show promoter who has experience in executing these events and then just change the name. And I think I know who's executing. So I find this hilarious.
It is hilarious. I also feel like, imagine you're the promoter. Because probably you would have spoken to someone and that person would have given you their agreement and payments might have been made, deposits might have been paid. And then someone else is like, they receive a complaint from their cricket playing son or something. And they're like, who authorized this? Cancel it immediately. Not happening. And just imagine the scrambling you're going to be doing. Well,
it depends. When is this? It's slated for ZITF is which date?
The ZITF starts on the 21st up till the 26th.
I know this is a byproduct of Zimbabwe being so dysfunctional, but that's 3 weeks. 3 weeks to find a new venue is light work.
Yeah, plenty of time. The problem is, Phil, this kind of thing is you need to make so much money to break even on such a big event.
No, but you're not. This is a brand event. You don't need to make any money. As the show promoter, Yes, they're launching cigarettes. That's why that's the thing you keep missing.
That I don't know.
If you look, I'm not going to mention their name, but look at the flyer, look at the show promotion. They're launching a new brand of cigarettes.
Zimbabwe is funny, man. Anyway, I'll be paying attention. I want to see what's going to happen with this event and if they're going to announce a new venue or what if it gets cancelled. That will be also quite funny. Guys, events, Mawan. This past week, one of the reasons I'm really tired from this week is because I was emceeing and helping to organize an event. My 1,000 guys. Events. Yeah. But, keeps you on your toes where you got to be. But just moving on real quick. Phil, I think we do need to wrap up sometime soon, unless there's something urgent that you want to mention. I think we can.
No, I think we've covered a good gamut of topics. We're also testing out our new system here. Make sure it's working. Yeah, man. Shout out to our listeners for holding us down. There's a bunch of, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start organizing them because we do have a bunch of emails, and I think what we're going to do actually, Dan, is maybe do like a bunch of listener questions, or maybe next week I'll line them up. I'm just trying to also sort through them because some of them are just nonsensical, and then some they need editing.
Well, if we're gonna, I want to also refer to something that was discussed in our Patreon group is Jah Praise's UK tour. So just giving a plug to all of y'all in the UK. If you're listening, Jah Praise are going to be in the UK in May. There was some conversation about the ticket prices, but hey, you guys in the first world, y'all do different things when it comes to tickets. So me, I don't know. And also this screenshot I saw here is for a VIP ticket. So I don't know what y'all expecting, but yeah.
How much is the VIP ticket then?
So this VIP ticket is £158. Early bird VIP ticket for Jah Praise's Wolverhampton show.
And people are complaining.
I don't think people are complaining. It's just someone posted that, there's this show, and then someone looked at the prices and they were like, yo. And I was like, it's a VIP ticket though, and it's in the UK. How much is it supposed to be?
If we were told that there was an event at HICC and Jah Praise was the headliner and VIP tickets were $150,
it would sound normal. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He did a regular intimate show where the tickets were $100, not VIP, just regular tickets were $100, sold out. So it's not crazy to me. Although I don't know how much I'd need to be earning for me to feel comfortable paying that, but it's not like it's a crazy amount. So if you're out in the UK, hey, get a ticket.
Support you. We can't get free tickets anymore. Can't even holler at dude and be like, yo, Muku, what's up, dog?
We got some listeners in the podcast. Could we get one or two? Sorry, guys. We can't give patrons. I don't know. Look, we'll try. Let me try.
I mean, if we are sorting issues. If the issues are sorted by that time, you never know. We can just hit up Jules him. Jules him might not.
He might not know the full story. Anyway, boys and girls, thank you so much for listening to another episode. We are trying out a new system, so let's hope this sounds good, but it should definitely look good. So make sure you follow the socials. 2 Broke Twimbos on everything.
We can even put like the lower thirds now. We can put the lower thirds with the 2 Broke Twimbos. Everything. You know what we're going to do? Actually, the video is patrons only for now. So patrons are going to be getting the video, and then we'll
full video. Okay, yeah, but for clips, Because I don't know if you saw, we blew up on both Instagram and TikTok with our last video.
Yeah, I saw even Chief Ben commented and liked the video we were talking about Chief Ben.
He even reposted it. So I was like, shout out Chief Ben. All right, so thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, please support the podcast. A lot of these conversations that you see us having here on the podcast we already started marinating those conversations in the Patreon group. So you can go to TrueBrokeTwimbos.com/donate. It's an opportunity for you to join the Patreon subscribers. And one of the perks of being a Patreon subscriber, apart from us giving you some exclusive things, first listen, first look, whatever the case is you also get to join the WhatsApp group where we have these conversations and discuss some next topics.
Yeah, and patrons help us pay for platforms like this. They help us get the equipment. They help us get videos. They help us pay our producer, and other things. So thank you, guys.
Yeah. So twobroke.com/donate. The minimum tier is just $5 per month. But if you find that you've had a pretty good month, hey, why not go subscribe to some of the higher up tiers that allows us to keep this podcast going. We try to give you some benefits, but to be honest, the real benefit is supporting your boys. Supporting your boys.
Yeah.
This one's a short one. Don't worry, we'll bless you with a nice, proper, long one soon.
A long, girthy one in the upcoming weeks.
Okay, boys and girls, we'll catch you in the next one. We're going to sign out now. There's some dope new music. Gemma dropped her new song today. It's actually quite dope. There's a new Saint Flo and I believe Saint Flo and Nutty O, which is also quite dope. Yeah, there's several new joints. So we'll introduce you to one. We like to put a new song on. Actually, problem is Gemma's music might also get us taken down. Anyway,
but then it's only getting so. If you are listening on Spotify and you see episodes are missing, please just use another podcast app. We are not having these issues on any other apps. Sorry, Spotify are just doing what they do. There's YouTube, there's Pocket Casts, the default Apple Podcast app, many other, Overcast, all those apps. Please, if you can, consume our podcast there.
That's weird. There was another weird distortion to the sound that seems to be protecting our future bag. I don't know what happened. Anyway, cool. We'll catch you in the next episode, guys. We out.